Welcome everyone for here for the horses. I'm glad you're here for the horses. We have an exciting, fun-filled day today. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for showing up. Glad you're here. Today we're going to talk about glutes, and we're going to take a look at some photos of glutes. And then we are going to talk about this week's homework, which actually is not in the clinic. So this is going to be maybe new to some of you, maybe not. Some of you have maybe already done this. I don't do it a ton because very similar to those of you who do Masterson method, like when you're doing the bladder meridian, that takes a long time. You can't rush the bladder meridian. So I don't do the bladder meridian unless I really feel like that's going to solve the issue of the horse that I'm working on. It's like a bonus or something. If you think that's what you need to do, you can do it. But that bladder meridian can take like 45 minutes to an hour just to do that, if you really take your time doing it. So obviously, if I'm there to massage a horse, I do not have 2 hours to do a massage and a bladder meridian, or what we're going to talk about today can also take quite a while. Okay. So let's right away just get into what we're going to talk about. We'll do a screen share. We'll just kind of go through some things I want to show. Let's first talk about some cool stuff I saw this week. I want to talk about, I got to find it first. Hold on. I want to talk about Kay's little mare, Lexi. She's really interesting. Very stoic, very internal. And there was, Kay put up a video, I believe it was on like the glutes or sacrum, maybe, I'm not sure. But you're right here, okay? So if you guys have not had, point of hip and glutes, had a chance to watch this little video here, I want you to take a little bit of time and watch it. This is on the coaching community. Okay. So coaching community, you do have to be a member of this. This comes with, if you have purchased my online clinic, most of you have, then you get onto the coaching community, and then you get to do, then you get to do this group. But do you see this licking? I was like, did she just get fed something? Yes, she got a peppermint. So that threw me a little bit at first. I was like, that is a weird release. But watch this video because there's a lot going on in this mare's head, but she's very quiet. She's very quiet, but there's a lot going on. Okay. So with her, my main recommendation for Kay was to just slow everything down, like everything, the way you move, the way you talk, the way, the way you breathe. Okay. Everything with this mare till she gets to a point where she is, not so kind of frantic, mentally. Like even her chewing is fast. Okay. Her licking is fast. She looks very calm, right? But there's something going on. She's thinking about a lot of things. So with this particular horse, and she's fascinating. She's very smart. Okay, so there's some emotions coming out there. She's very smart. She's very interesting. So take some time to watch that video with my, like right there, I had to slow all that down, that movement, you know, how you move her. And trust me, I've been there. Georgia was the same way. It's like everything was just like that. Okay. So I just would always, when I lead Georgia, I go, oh, come with me, baby. Like it's just so light. Like I almost go, come with me, and I let the rope slide over my fingers. Just to give them that peace. I just want them to relax a little bit. So she's a really interesting horse to watch be worked on, because she wants to relax, she wants to calm down, but it's real hard. She's got a lot of internal tension. So physically she runs tight, but I think a lot of that is because of emotional stuff. So you're going to see a big improvement with this particular horse over time. just like you have with a lot of horses on here. A lot of horses have improved a ton. Like Raven was the same way, Nancy's horse. Okay. They're just kind of on edge a little bit. Oh, she's like, oh, okay. So that was a fun video to watch. Go ahead and watch that. And Kay just told me, well, I just started watching it when I was getting ready for this. She has another video that I'm going to check out. So like there's something going on right here, right? Okay. So she ignores it as much as possible. And then when it comes out, it's funny. Another horse did that too. Was like ignoring it and ignoring it, and then it like came out, but it was like really fast and like I'm gonna release tension. Okay, so it was not super relaxing. Yeah, and then she said, oh, I can't do that anymore. That's enough. So she stepped away twice. She does give really nice cues. She communicates pretty well, but she really tries not to communicate. So that was interesting. All right. Let's take a look at the little babies. Let's take a look at, while we're looking at the little babies, Leanne, these two have grown up. They're like beasts now. There's one of them. Look at the size of that sucker. He's a big boy. Leanne, for those of you who have my seven telltale signs attention ebook, it has gotten a facelift by someone smart. Yeah. So Leanne took a look at it, and she has a history of correcting poor grammar. And so she has redone she looked them over and fixed some things that I was sick of looking at. So she's redone my 7 telltale signs attention. So if you have that ebook, feel free to go into your portal and you can download it again. And she made it look all pretty and fixed like spacing stuff and reworded a couple sentences. So that's super exciting for me because you can only, draft something so many times until your eyes start rolling. And you're like, I don't even care anymore. Just read it. So feel free to download that again if you want it. And then she's also going to help me out with some of my other books that I have coming out. So they're going to look fancy and smart. I'll pop to put like a little thing in there for her. Edited by Leanne. Okay, so feel free to do that. Thank you, Leanne, for that, by the way. All of you have so many different skills and talents, and I over time find out what they are, and it's awesome. Okay, so let's take a look here again at the next glutes. So let's look at some glutes here. This was another cool thing that Leanne did. Look how organized this is. Okay, so Adobe. Let's look at some of Adobe's glutes. And you guys, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can just, I'll try to keep my chat up so I can see it. You can or you can just unmute, okay? So Adobe, he's older and he has insulin resistance, correct, Leanne? He looks really good. I mean, this is really good. This is good for that. Okay. So nice round booty, right? Okay. Nice round. There's not a crazy big lump here. There's no tight, weird things here, right? Okay. The insulin resistance guys go ahead. The insulin resistance guys get this fat pocket back here, right? So that's pretty normal for that, but he's looking really good. There's a little divot here, so that might be just a tiny bit of fascia or something. You can kind of see a little line here. I'm being really, really picky. Okay. But looks real nice and smooth, big booty, kind of an interesting shape. He's a Mustang, I believe. So, it's not your normal or, your typical thoroughbred butt. It's not your typical quarter horse butt. It's a Mustang butt. Okay.
It's a Mustang butt. Probably
what is he?
Well, I've never done a DNA test, but I feel like he was crossed with some draft horse at some point because he's got a lot of feathering down his hooves, and he's so big for a Mustang.
Yeah, I would love DNA. You can do that through Texas A&M. It's like $50. Texas A&M DNA. That's how I found out Georgia was a Criollo, which fits her personality to the T. She's a Criollo and a draft horse. The only thing she got from the draft was that she's not 14 hands. She's 15 too. So everything else is Criollo. She looks like the photo when you Wikipedia it, when you pull her up. So it's real fun to do that. Okay, so that's Adobe. He looks nice. Well, looks good. Okay, let's see what else we got. Ellie. Okay, so she's looking good too, right? This looks nice, doesn't it? This looks nice. Now I remember on the video, this side looks tighter, doesn't it? Does everyone see that? It just looks a little tighter. This is a little less developed. So this is the TFL, tensor fascia latte right here. It's a little less developed. There's a bump there for something. This is a little less developed. Okay. But looks pretty darn good. Pretty good. High tail set like an Arabian. We're gonna see some Arabian butts. They definitely have that higher tail set. Okay, so that looks pretty nice. Pretty nice. This looks more like kind of fascia and superficial stuff that you could loosen up. Very small sacrum raise here. You know, you can see that little tiny divot. So pretty darn good. And I do want to say this. You can't tell everything from a photo. So this is just to kind of train your eye to look at stuff. You know, what my eye looks at really is this section here. That's pulled in. Okay, so that's a fascia, abdominal fascias, right? Big old buckaroo booty. Okay, there's a nice round butt, isn't it? Okay, so this looks like some superficial fascia, you know, that's kind of tight a little bit, so you could loosen that up. Very round, very muscular. He's young, okay? But it's a nice muscular, it's nice and round, okay? Just some superficial stuff here. There's no lines, right? You'd be looking for lines that go like this. That would be a deep gluteal, and then the TFL would be going like this, or TFLs also go straight up and down. Okay, so you might want to press in on his TFL a little bit. I normally do a roll like that. See if you can loosen some of that up, but that looks pretty good. Maybe a little insertion there at the point of hip. This side looks nice. Okay. Here's Mystic Knight. This looks really good, doesn't it? Okay. This looks really good. Everything looks real nice. So then my goal with that would be, can you loosen everything up? Can you just take it from this and loosen it up? And even loose horses can get looser. Okay, so she's really muscular also. So see if you can get her looser. But there's nothing that's like drawing my eye here that says, oh, you should work on that part. This all looks really good. She's also young. Okay, so there's them. Let's see. I gotta look around here. Here's Boone. It's funny, Sue, you sent me that other photo and it looked like his booty was like raised up, but then in this video it didn't look like that, so I'm not sure. It had me thinking.
There was the before, a massage, and after.
Aha, I see. There you go. Yeah, so, well, that's good news for you then. Good job. So before the massage, his little booty was raised up higher. And then after, you know, this looks really nice, doesn't it, everyone? Nice and smooth. Look at how nice that moves with just her fingertips barely pushing it. She's not even pushing on it. She's using it to hold his hip in one spot while she does the hamstring release. Like that's how squishy that is. So that's fantastic. Look at how her palm goes into it. Okay. So that's fantastic. His looks really good. So she said that was before, you know, before the massage and after. There's little nuggets. Okay, so watch that video. Okay, so here's an Arabian butt. All right, so high tail set. Okay, very normal. I would do like a little sacrum rub. So to me, there's no red flags here, but it does look a little bit tight. But overall tight, kind of in general. All right, so there's no, lines. There's no huge raised spots. There's no indentations. The TFL looks really healthy and nice. Okay. The glutes look pretty good, but I bet you could get this to look a lot fluffier and rounder with some, percussion, with some kneading, with some circles. Okay, so that's Zanzibar. Okay, and then here's Tariq. Okay, so here's a little indent right there. I'm gonna pick him apart. It looks pretty good. Again, same situation, just looks a little bit tight. Okay, this looks a little, I'd like it a little fluffier right here. Okay. So you could rake that, just get it to move a bit, rake it, do some pounding. Got a little indentation here, little bit of the TFL, but they're both quite muscular. They look good. They're filled out nice. Okay. Kathy's in the house. Oh my gosh. Okay. So that's pretty nice. This again is one of those situations where I'd loosen up the whole area. So you have pretty nice looking glutes. Go ahead and take some time, loosen up the whole area and see if you can do before and after photos, you guys. See if, because sometimes you think, oh, I didn't do anything. And then you see, if you take before and after photos, you see a huge difference. Okay. There's Ellie again. Oh yeah, Martha. We got Martha in the house. Look at this cute little butt. Oh my gosh, how cute is that? So the hind views I like because what am I going to look at? I want to look at these 2 points here and see if one side is higher than the other. This side looks a little bit higher, a little bit. Okay, she's standing nice and square though, isn't she? Okay, so I would think a little bit about this and see if you can get that to improve, although it could just be the angle or she's slightly cocking that up or down or something, but just something to look at. That's minimal. Nice, healthy glutes. She's a little bit older also. Okay, so this looks nice. This looks nice. It looks a little tight here, just a little bit. I'd like all this to flow and look a little fluffier. Okay. I'd go down this hamstring, looks pretty good. This area looks pretty good. TFL looks pretty good. Okay, nice. But I just try to get a little fluffier, do some raking. So yeah, this side looks tighter, doesn't it? Now, listen, with these camouflage horses, these body markings will mess you up. Okay, and I'm going to tell you a story. One time I was driving on a road and I have this weird thing that I do, like I have sensors and they go okay, and I'll do it on my horses and other people's horses. If I see something, it'll be a split second I'll see something weird and I'll hone in on it and then I have to go like, that horse took a bad step, now I have to watch it and see if it's okay. I was driving on this highway and I looked across like 10 acres and I saw this mule that had coloring similar to Martha, but it was brown and white. Okay. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that mule is so underweight. It's starving. And so I had to find my way off the highway and drive these back roads and I found it. And I look and I get close to it and I'm all prepared, right? And I get close to it and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's completely at weight. It was at a perfect weight, but just the markings on its body made it look like its hip bones were sticking out. So it was like darker and then white and then darker. So it just looked like it was skin and bones from like the mile away that I was. But when I got up close, it was totally at weight. And I said, okay, my husband was in the, I'm like, okay, carry on. No need to stop here. So these markings will mess you up. So just remember that when you're looking at stuff. And then also paints. Paints will get you too sometimes. Like you'll kind of be like, is that a confirmation thing or what's going on? So just remember that when you're looking at these horses, you know, like this up here will mess with you. Okay, so this side to me looks a little tighter. This glute looks a little raised. Okay, so remember, that was the side that the SI was a little bit high on, just like a little bit though. So it could be nothing. So I would work this whole TFL. I'd work this glute. Like look at the angle this glute's coming down and tying in with the back. It's a little sharp. Okay, so I would take a look at this right glute. See if you can loosen that up. And then maybe do a little work around this hip. I'd maybe check the hips. So, you know, you go to stand behind the horse and you reach forward and you check both the hip bones. If you can reach around your horse like that, check to see if one's further forward or higher. Okay. So check that. Little Martha, cute little butt. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. This nice little booty. Okay, this is Mira. This is Melinda's horse. Look at that. Nice, round, equal glutes. Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Doesn't that look soft and beautiful? I like it. Okay. I like the spine. I know she's kind of looking off to the left, but so anytime you take a photo from the back, try to keep their head straight. Sometimes you just gotta click like 90 pictures till you can get one. But you see how this spine is nice and straight. Okay. And then I also always check the shoulders, but they do have to be standing square and they do have to have their head straight. Okay. So I can't tell much from here forward, but from here back, the spine looks really good. All the coloring is good. So that's another cool thing that you can check from the back is like, if there's a weird mark with the hair that goes like right there. And then on this side, it's like shallower or more pronounced. That's something to look at. You have some discrepancies there. And then always check the shoulders and make sure you get the mane out of the way. But this looks really nice. So this would be one of those situations. Can you get it looser? Give it a try. Okay. This is I got to take a look at this. This was one Mira right side, more action as I move closer to the stifle. Okay. If you didn't see this, Rita put this up. She's asking about, she was doing work on Arthur and then his eye started dripping. Lots of weird stuff happens when you do body work. So eye dripping, nose dripping, gurgling sounds in the stomach. I've had stomachs make sounds of like a flushing toilet before. Okay. So, yes, a lot of strange things oh, okay, here's Michelle's horses. When, I'm working on them, sometimes they'll act like they're drugged. So they'll go into moments of being drugged. And that's kind of crazy. Sometimes they'll get like lightheaded and they'll kind of like stumble. Okay. Yes. All right. This one is, what's this one's name? Betty? I think it's Betty.
Yeah, it's
Betty
Betty.
and Buddha. Is
Yeah.
it Betty?
Yes.
Yes.
Betty. Mhm.
All right, right on. So Betty's a beautiful horse.
Frappuccino.
Very shiny. Okay. So one thing that is drawing my eye right here, that little line. So that looks like part of the bicep femoris. Bicep femoris comes around and plugs in up here. Okay. So right there. So I would check that out, see if you can loosen it up. Okay. And then let's see. Can I go to the next one?
You're
from here?
aware, Matthew Keller pled down to manslaughter.
Maybe not.
Who brought him in for murder. Yeah. Since he was just
Okay. Here's a different view.
yesterday, he contacted.
Okay, so, okay, this one's good. Let me make this one bigger. Okay, do you see this? This is great with the darker horses because they catch all the light. Okay, so right here, there is an indentation All right, so I would work on loosening that section up right there. So either this muscle here is too tight or this one's too tight or both. Okay, so you can see along the top, nice and loose. And then it gets tight right here. So probably plugging into the hip joint right there. You might want to check that. TFL maybe. There's a little indent here also. But look at how nice this rib cage looks, you guys. That's beautiful. Look how soft it looks, doesn't it? Real soft. Okay. So I would work a little bit on this section right here. All right, hold on. Let me move myself over here. Okay, let's see what else we got here. This is the same photo. Look at this little, no. Look at this little horse right here. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. This is Buddha, and that's the perfect name for him. Isn't he a little Buddha? He's so cute. Okay, super cute little horse. Looks good, doesn't he? Looks nice. There's no like lines, there's no muscles protruding, bulging, you know, pulled tight. So this little horse, I think you could probably just get him looser overall. Big, round, nice booty. Okay, so it looks a little tight here. And that's going to be your deep gluteal. So deep gluteal, work this section right here. But this looks pretty nice and loose down here. But just this little section here. So kind of rake up and down, go around the hip joint, go around the point of hip. Okay. So that's a nice little booty. Let's look at this side. Let's see. Does he always stand with that white foot forward, Michelle?
I haven't noticed that, but I'll pay attention now to see.
Yep.
'Cause,
So, in all three of these photos, he has his white foot forward. Okay.
Okay.
So it could just have been like he just stopped that way, or it could mean something else. Okay. So you'll always be paying attention to their stance if they always have 1 foot forward more. Now on this side, this glute looks higher, right? Real round, but he has this leg back and that leg forward. So that's causing that. That's kind of why it drew my attention. So if he always has a foot forward and it's always the same foot, there's something going on and that would need to be addressed.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you submitted Max. Oh, okay, you just did it? Okay. And then Mira to document her right shoulder compression, possible injury, ill-fitting saddle. Yeah, totally. She has difficulty picking up the right lead. Low. Okay. Where'd you submit it, Jenny? Is that on Facebook?
Yeah, on the coaching page.
Okay. Let me look. Oh, that was the one that said I had it. Okay, let me look. Yep, I gotta do, oh, these are all the videos I gotta do tonight. Wanda, I'm gonna watch yours. I don't see it. Let me see if it just went through. Sometimes some of them just go through. It doesn't make sense. No, I don't see it. Send it to my messenger if you would. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Hold on. Let me look. Yeah, I want to see these photos for sure. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so we're looking at the glutes here. One thing my eye goes to is this stance. So he's got this foot pointing out and that foot pointing out, right? Is he always like that, Jenny?
Yeah, his feet go like this.
On the both sides or just
On
the
both.
left side?
Nope, on both
Oh, okay.
sides.
Okay. So I would take a look at some of the muscles and think, and hopefully it's some of the muscles in here pulling. So if this muscle here is pulling, it's going to pull that hock inward. Okay. And then, you know, same with the front leg, but it may be his conformation or his age, whatever, you know. Okay, so here's a good example of that real pointy glute. Okay, real pointy glute. So we want to loosen this glute up here. And a lot of times what happens is the angle of the hip gets pulled kind of tight. So this angle gets, what would it be? More acute. Okay, so it kind of opens, it opens. You would want this angle to be more of an angle, because then that would drop this down and it would cause this to be more of an angle instead of it kind of being like, "Dur, dur." All right, so loosen those glutes up, see if that helps. Do some work around the point of hip. And that's why I wanted photos of this horse, because I want to see if this changes over time. Okay. Let's take a look at the other side here. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about his stance also. So keep an eye on his stance and see if he's always like that. That would point to hip stuff, pelvis stuff for me.
He also
But you
didn't
never
want to
really know.
stand still.
What's that?
He also didn't want to stand still. He kept walking
Okay.
circles around me while I was trying to get pictures.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, sometimes you just have to be patient and wait them out. I can't tell if this is a shadow or if that's something that needs a little bit of work, but you definitely have kind of tight glutes into the back. Can everyone see that going into the back there? That's pretty wild. That's pretty tight. Okay. So yeah, loosen all this area up and it goes all the way up to here. Okay. Loosen all that up. Check his point of hip. Can you stand behind him yet?
Yes. I'm a
Okay.
little nervous to do it, but yes.
No, I believe in you.
He hasn't offered to kick. He's just
nervous, so you're just
Yeah.
gonna take it nice and slow. Yeah. But if you were to stand behind him and reach forward and touch his points of hip in the very front and measure them and see, you know, as long as one of your arms isn't 4 inches longer than it's supposed to be, then you should kind of be able to tell if one of them is further forward or higher, or, you know, what you have going on. Okay. But I think this little pony is just going to do so well. So well. Okay. All right. Do we have any questions? Any questions? You can unmute if you do. Kathy, nice to see you. Your little fox blinks its eyes. It's kind of creepy, I'm going to be honest with you. Vicky, hello. Nice to see you. Heather, I got your email that you sent me and I read 3/4 of it, so I'm still looking at it. Okay. All right, well, let's take a look at something really cool. Now, what I'm going to, oh, Carol, yours says pending. Is that glute pics? Let me look. I have 8 sitting there. Yeah, I don't see it, Carol, but I will, when it
Okay.
pops up, I will,
All right, it just says pending admin approval. So
yeah. That
Who
sh-
knows?
it should be in with the rest of my little videos here, but I don't see it right now, so maybe it'll pop up in a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take a look at something cool. We're gonna talk about, there's a couple different names for them. I've always called them dorsal and ventral fascia lines. Okay. You can do entire studies on this. So I'm going to touch on it. I'm not going to go into great detail on it, but what we're going to do, it's going to be our homework for this week. And what I want you to work on is observing your horse. There's Kathy. Observing your horse and their reaction to this. It's just going to be a really fun exercise for all of you to, again, gather more information about your horse's body and their personality. Okay, so let me show you first what I have. I also have a really cool article that I'm going to put up on, here it is. I'm going to show it to you first. This is an awesome article. I like it because it's written so that you can understand it. Yay. I like it when people are smart, but if I can't understand what they're saying, it doesn't help me very much. Okay, so I'm going to put this article up on, I'll put it up on both pages just in case some of you are not on the coaching community. But it's fascinating fascia, and fascia is fascinating. I agree. Okay, so this article is all about fascia, myofascia, the strength of fascia. So it talks about how strong it is, healing it, okay, when it gets injured, superficial fascia. Okay, so fascia goes all throughout the body in different areas. The movement of fascia, treatment for fascia if it gets damaged. They mostly talk about damage and being tight, okay? So those are the two things they talk about. They talk about some reasons that fascia can get tight or damaged. Goes back to a little bit of saddle fit. So I'm glad that got brought up. Also riding. So movements that are done that aren't great movements over and over and over again. So people who get carpal tunnel from doing the same thing over and over again, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so that causes issues. Okay, look what we have here. Superficial dorsal line and superficial ventral line. Okay, so it talks about what it does, but what I want to talk about is where it's at and how to kind of do some body work on it and see what happens. But this is a great article. I enjoyed it. So let me pull up a photo that I found. Be-do. Here it is. Okay. So this was from another article that I didn't get all the way through, but oh, this was from an article about something called bow and arrow. And I had never heard of that before, so I read it, but it's this theory that came out a really long time ago, and they called it the bow and arrow theory or something like that. So I might attach that too if you want me to. Okay, so dorsal, dorsal and ventral. The way I remember is that sharks have a dorsal fin and it goes through the water and it's on top of their back, right? The dorsal fin is on the top. So this is the dorsal line up here. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, dorsal. Ventral is just not dorsal, it's down below, okay? And then it goes there, goes all the way, plugs way up in there, and then you pick it up again here, and it goes down the front of the hind leg. Okay, so dorsal fin, ventral. Okay, so these are the two planes that we are going to work on this week. And it's do you see how it plugs in here? starts here. It goes up around the ear, but it actually goes through the center is where we're gonna do it, okay? And then it goes all the way down the top line, down the top line, down the top line, down the glutes, down the hamstrings, and it goes down the back of the leg. Okay? The ventral picks up at the masseter. I actually start them both at the same spot right here. It goes down the bottom of the neck, middle of the sternum. Okay, so the only time your hands come off their body is to do this with a halter on. You have to pop over the halter. But other than that, your hand stays in contact with the body the whole time. With the ventral, it's really a pain. So you hit the halter here, then you go down, you hit the sternum, then you gotta, get your arm on the other side of this. So then you let go there. Then it comes all the way up into the pelvis. And then you let go, and then you come back to the point of hip and then go down the front of the leg.
Out there. Oh.
Okay. So this is what I want you to think of, and I will put this photo in the coaching community. But I did a video for everyone. So let's take a look at it. And I used Chester of all horses. Let's see how it goes.
Hi guys, how you doing? I want to go over something with you that I have not gone over. I don't do it a ton. There are people who specialize in this, so if you want more information, that's definitely someone you'd want to look up. We're going to talk today about dorsal and ventral superficial lines, or just dorsal ventral lines. They're called a couple different things depending on who you're talking to. I generally call them dorsal and ventral fascia lines, but there are a couple different names that they go by. So you might want to check that out. One thing that I do to help myself remember the difference between dorsal and ventral is that sharks have a dorsal fin. Okay, that's the fin that goes through the water, right? So dorsal is on the top, ventral is on the bottom. All right, so you can try to remember that. The first thing I'm going to go over is I'm just going to go over where the dorsal and ventral lines are. And I have a couple diagrams for this also, so we'll check those out when it's time. And then also how I work on dorsal or ventral lines if I want to. Okay, so I have Chester here today. We'll see if he's going to stand still. If not, you might find that he's replaced with a big red mare. I don't know. All right, I think Chester will stand though. Chester will stand for us. Yeah, because he's a good boy. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. All right, so let's move him over a little bit. I didn't bring an emotional support animal in here for him, and he's going to do just fine because he's got a lot of confidence now. He's built his confidence up. Okay, so for the dorsal line, the one along the top, let me first show you where it's at. Now, this makes it a little more difficult when you're doing stuff with the halter, but it starts here in most, this is where I was taught that it starts. In most photos, it starts here also. So kind of right at the TMJ, you're actually going to go in front of the ear and then right down the line here. And it goes all the way down the top line. We're doing the dorsal. Okay, down the top line, all the way down the back. Down the butt. Now you're going to go right here, and then you're going to hit this line from the semitendinosus and the bicep femoris. Okay. And then you're going to go to the back of the leg, very back. And then you're going to go down the hop, down to the fetlock, and then out the bottom. Now, did you all notice that he didn't kick? Hey, he didn't kick. We're getting there, man. Little baby steps, but we're getting there. Okay, so that was the dorsal line. Let me show you the ventral now. Good job, buddy. You're such a hero. A hero. Okay, dorsal line, I've seen it a couple different ways. It can, well, you guys can't see that. Let me move you over here. There we go, that'll be good. Isn't he cute? Look, he's put some weight on too. Okay, so ventral line. One more step. Boop. Ventral line is a little bit more annoying because it actually stops and then you pick it up in a different spot. That's why I'm not a huge fan of it, but is what it is. Okay, so the ventral line actually starts at the same spot too. I've seen that it does not go up over the ear though, okay? So it goes along the bottom. Okay, so you're gonna follow that brachiocephalicus down. And then it's gonna go, oh, that was good. It's gonna go right in between the pectorals. I like to stay in the middle of the sternum. Okay, now, because there's a front leg here, you have to pick up and keep going. Look at all the reaction he has here. Okay, keep going on the midline. Midline. Real slow. Good, and then it picks up. It actually tucks way up into the pelvis. Okay, so then you stop there and you pick it up here at the point of hip. That's interesting. Did you guys see that? And you're gonna take that line down, straight down, go right to the stifle. And then you're gonna pick it up in the front of the stifle. Get all this reaction I'm getting from him. Pick it up in the front of the stifle, and you're gonna go down the front of the stifle. Good boy. The very front. Good boy. You're gonna go to the hawk. Good boy. Down the front. And then I like to push it out the bottom of the foot. So go all the way down the bottom of that foot. Bam, out the bottom. Okay? So those are your dorsal and your ventral lines. Now I'm going to show you how I actually want to work them. If I'm focusing on seeing if I can get some release out of these two lines, I'm going to take my flat, kind of my plain hand, right? And I'm just going to slowly take it through those lines again. Now, the thing with that is I want to keep it in the same direction. I don't want to pick my hand up off the horse. So I'm trying to kind of go down that line without stopping. It's not that easy to do, especially if you've got a halter on, because then you have to kind of bump over the halter. And then for the ventral line, you have to kind of come off it. But let's do that real quick and see what we get. Okay, so let's do the dorsal. This is a really slow process and you definitely want to do both sides. So it takes a while. That's why I don't do a lot of this in massage, because then half my massage time is gone and I have other stuff to do. Okay, but this would be great to do as just one session. So hand, let's see, I'm gonna do it this way. So I'm gonna start here in front of the ear. Now I want you to pay attention to the reaction that your horse has. And where are they reacting? I also want you to pay attention to how does it feel? Okay, if you can, I was told you don't want to have your other hand on there. You just want it to be the one hand. That's an interesting little head bob he had there. Okay, nice and slow. I'm kind of pressing in as I go. I'm also bringing information in through my hand. So he likes this. This is why it's good to do like random stuff every once in a while to find out what horses like. You may not even know they need it. Oh, there he goes. On the top line. Does those little micro twitches, which is funny. Try to get your hand, you can get your hand as big as you can, so you can do it like this if you wanted to. Kind of focus on just the 4 fingers there. Feels good though. Nice and slow. Oh, he got tight there, his back started to drop, so that's information for you. It's kind of similar to that. That's good. There we go. Good bowl. Okay, you're gonna come down and you're gonna hit this groove. Where it gets kind of awkward for your body on this particular one. And then you're gonna go right to the very back. Right when that line kicks you out, you're gonna go to the very back of that leg. You're gonna go down the very back of that hop. But oh, down the very back. Hit that, heel bulbs, and then out. Good boy. Good boy. So he has a scar back there. From something nefarious, I assume. Good boy. It's a little nervous when you get your hand back there. Okay? That was a good boy, though. That was a good boy. So sometimes what you'll feel, this is really cool when you do this, is you'll feel like kind of the energy building up underneath your hand. Normally it happens right around the back because it's like it's collected everything in the front part of the horse, and then it hits the back, and it's just like you'll feel kind of like where the energy comes out, or he felt in the foot, obviously he has tension and stress there anyways. So okay, so this can be very relaxing. It can be, you can find kind of funny stuff as you're going along. You saw he had like a lot of like micro bobs in his head as I was doing his neck. So that's just something I want to think about. You want to locate areas on your horse's body that like it doesn't feel as good. Like his feels really good going over the glutes and hip and kind of down that leg. And I could tell he was getting nervous with the legs toward the bottom, but pretty darn good. So let's do the ventral line now. Good job, buddy. Good job, buddy. Okay, so I like to start it underneath. Let's see, I'll start on this hand. It's hard because you don't want to switch hands if you don't have to. Okay, and then you're going to go down the neck. Oh. See, I already did this the wrong way. I should have flipped my hand over. I'll go in between these legs. I'm going to pick it up with this other hand. Right in the center. I'm going to pick it up with this other hand. Take it all the way up. Good boy. Boy. Okay. Let go. Pick it up here. We're going to go straight down toward the stifle. Nice breath. There we go. Got a yawn out of him. Stifle. Down the very front. Nice and slow. Intentional. The hall. Down the front. Vertical point. All the way out. Think about that, sir. Okay. So what I want you to do this week, now I have to do the other side. What I want you to do this week is do this with your horses. Give it a try. It's a little bit awkward. Okay. Pretty cool, isn't it? Pretty cool. Look at him. Oh, he's feeling it now. So do this with your horses. Check it out. See how it goes. It's a bit awkward, like I said. But see what responses you get. You know, he calmed down a lot, second pass. I mean, for him, I'm definitely going to do another pass on both because this could very well help his leg issue. Okay, I'm looking at every different possibility to help out his leg issue. So I'm going to do another pass with this going along the top line and the ventral line, the dorsal and ventral. And then I'm going to switch sides and I'm going to do 3 on the other side and see what I find. Okay, get the main out of your way if you go to the opposites. All right, hope you guys enjoyed that.
Okay, so that is your homework, and I will put that up. I'll put both videos in the coaching group. Kay says it looks like the dorsal is where the bladder, yes, where the bladder meridian is also. Yes, I don't think the bladder meridian loops up around the ear in the front though. But yes, it's definitely the same spot. And then the bladder meridian, oh yeah, that does go down the leg, doesn't it? Yeah, so it is the fascia planes though are just much wider. Okay, so especially in the neck and then going on the back, much wider. So that's why I'll use my whole hand. The first time I kind of did like a planing to make it really clear where I was going to kind of feel like in detail. But then the second pass, I had a big hand. I tried to keep it nice and soft and big. Okay. So yes, they are the same. How much pressure do I use? So the first pass I used, you know, I was planing. So it was more of like gathering information, seeing how the horse would react. You know, this was Chester and he has a kicking issue that he's doing much, much, much better, but still an issue. So I just wanted to introduce him to the idea of what I'm doing, starting from the front, going all the way through. The second pass was harder and deeper, but I had a bigger hand, so it wasn't as intense. But I definitely pressed in as I went. And when you're doing this, it's really hard to do. You're not supposed to have your other hand on them. So you want it to be focused on just the one spot you're working on. Really hard for me to do because you're taught in massage to have 2 hands on them all the time, which I also don't do all the time, but in general, I'm always touching the horse. So one hand, if you can, and then you also want your hand to be facing down the tail the whole time. So you don't want to like move your hand around. Now, why? I don't know. That's just what I was taught. But you want it to always be going in one direction. So that can be awkward also. And then also another thing, and you'll see this on Georgia's video, I pressed harder on her. So I had 2 hands. And I was using like kind of body weight and movement. And I had my hands out in front of me more like pressing down her back. So I was definitely going more to influence those fascia lines than I was with Chester because he's just a little guy. He's a little guy. Okay. So there you go. That's your homework. Check it out. I'll have both those videos up for you. Yeah, and other than that, any questions on that? Any other questions on that? Good questions so far. You with 4 horses, you guys got a lot of work to do. It's gonna take a while. Okay. Any other questions on anything? No. Mike, what I forgot his name, his last name now. You guys know Mike. Mike and his daughter Hannah. Yes. He has messaged me about doing a clinic out toward him. So I will always have my clinic stuff updated. That would be super fun. So we'll see how that goes. And then, you know, my brother's in Chicago. My niece is in Indiana, and she's on the equestrian team at her college. So I might be trying to get out there to do a clinic or 2. Okay. I do have my advanced clinic coming up with the famous Kathy Winlet at Appalachia. That's gonna be my first ever advanced clinic, and I have some really cool stuff that has just been coming to me recently, so that is still developing. We're gonna do some cool stuff for that. I got 2 new ideas this week, and I'm gonna incorporate them both, and then I'm gonna tell them they're my guinea pigs. So I'm gonna be seeing how that goes. So that'll be an advanced clinic coming out. Yeah, other than that, any other questions? That's all I got for you. I'll have those videos that are sitting in my queue done tonight. All right, rock on, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for those of you showing up today
Thank
and
you.
have a wonderful week.
Thanks. You too.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Bye. You're welcome. Bye, everyone.